management and staff of Morrison Media Group presents the 2026 Anniversary Celebration Lecture of Morrison Media Group. Theme: Media's role in shaping social change, addressing inequities, and empowering voices. Chairman Alex Ndudi Enebele, FSM, President, Institute of Strategic Management of Nigeria, Chartered. Keynote speaker, Professor Armstrong Idachaba, Professor of Media and Broadcasting Communication. Panelist, Professor Chris Ochonogo, Immediate Past Head of Department, Journalism and Media Studies, University of Port Harcourt. Dr. Ijoma Tobosia, Secretary, NUJ, River State. Dr. Sarah Joe, University Orator and Associate Dean, Faculty of Communication and Media, River State University, Port Harcourt. Dr. Ibiere Koki, Ignatius Aju University of Education, Rumolomini, Port Harcourt. Chief Host, Dr. Chinyere Igwe, Esquire, Chairman, Morrison Group. Date: Tuesday, 10th March 2026. Venue: Gate Place Hotel, Kilometer 5, East West Road, adjacent Obirikwere Flyover, Rumosi, Port Harcourt. Time: 10 a.m. For more information, please call Kainde Paul Obofade 081 063 41777 or Samuel Ajinwo at 090 454 00744. Signed, Management.
Welcome to Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. On this edition of the program, Nigerian athlete wins indoor conference title. And coming in from tennis, Medvedev claims Dubai Championship. Arsenal reclaimed 5-point lead at the Premier League. Details of these and many more will be yours when we return from break. Stay with us. Welcome back. We have Mike with me this hour.
Thanks for having me this morning. Glad to be here.
And of course, we start in athletics, where Temitope Adesina won her third consecutive Big 12 indoor high jump title after clearing a height of 1.96 meters, setting a new meet record, and of course, equaling his second best mark in Texas Tech University history. Mike, this is interesting. Out there in the United States of America, we've seen Temitope make Nigeria proud.
Yeah, for Temitope, I think it's been a glorious performance for her from the indoor activities. You know, she remained unbeaten so far the Big 12 championship. You know, out there, one of the best performer of the university out there. And I think for me, great season she's having so far, playing many games without a lose at all. And I think one to watch out for this season. Last season wasn't that impressive for Temitope, but then I think she has started off in a very fantastic form this year.
Temitope, Nigeria high jumper, who has, of course, broken Nigeria's national record 3 times and is on, of course, the Bohemian Mid Indoor Watch list. Overall, he is the 4th highest jumper in the world.
Yeah, 4th highest jumper, which for me I think is very massive. Just a matter of time. I think she's going to improve on that, because last year was the year that we were expecting her to at least climb to number 2 in the world, but courtesy of some lapses, she could not, you know, surpass that mark. So for this year, taking a look at how she has started the season, I'm sure that you know, the next ranking she might probably, you know, improve to that, maybe to 3 or 2 in the world.
Still in athletics, Federation of African University Sports has confirmed that the 8th Afro Varsity 3x3 basketball challenge will be held from May 28 to the 1st of June this year at the University of Ibadan. This competition, Mike, we understand is the top university draws seen across Africa. University of Ibadan will be the venue of this one.
Yeah, they are leading the charge for this particular one, and I think for me, it would be great if they put up an impressive, you know, organizational structure, because they are looking at, you know, Nigerian University also hosting this time and time again, because we've seen it going across the African continent. This time around, I think for University of Ibadan, one of the longest or oldest university in Nigeria, if they can be able to host this very one in a way and manner that it pleases the organizers, they still have more chance to even host another one. And one thing that for me I think I'm very impressed is about the age range of the participants ranges from 17 to 25, which means that we can also get young athletes from
must
that
be in university. That's the age you should be in university. Talking about university, well, we still have some older people in university, but you should think that between the age of 17 and 22 at most.
Contrary is the case now with our educational system. You know what Nigeria is, but then normally it ought to be from 17 to 25 at most. But these days, go to different universities, you see that people within the age range of 30, 35 and above, are still.
Well, that's what it is. But you have to be, for you to be a participant in this 3x3 basketball African University event, you have to be within the age of 17 and 25. We understand that the accreditation portal opens on the 15th of March, just about 2 weeks or so from now. And of course, the university will confirm participation by the 15th of each month as well. Nigeria is set to host the event and is expected to strengthen collaboratory effort among African universities to provide valuable exposure for student athletes and, of course, further position university sports as a part with the international competition. This is the first ever edition of the Challenge Cup, a challenge which we held, we understand was held in Uganda way back in 2015, and featuring 17 teams from 7 universities across 9 countries. We understand then that we saw university students from Uganda, South Africa, Rwanda, Kenya, Tanzania, Lesotho, Sudan, Congo DR, not forgetting Zimbabwe and South Sudan taking part in it as well. Well, we look forward to it, but talking about basketball and the university participation, this is an avenue for basketball players that are in the university. Some results coming in from the NBA, Mike. Do we have some sharing ones?
Yeah, I think for OKC, they continue their dominance in the Eastern Conference as well. And, I just see some other teams like Los Angeles Lakers improving on their outing. Their last 5 games, I think they've been doing something great. Denver Nuggets as well, doing something great as well. So this team NBA that are charging.
Talking about the NBA and the early hours of this morning, we saw the Lakers from the Los Angeles in some good form. We saw them 128 points over Sacramento Kings that had 126 points, 2-point win for the home side there. And their neighbors, the Clippers from Los Angeles as well, was in some level of priority because New Orleans Pelicans were on the losing side after they beat them by 137 to 117 points. Clippers and Lakers on the winning note. Wow, yeah. Los Angeles should be in a good mood this morning.
Good mood indeed. You want to say, like I said earlier, I think in their last 5 games, it's been a good outing for them. I think with the consistency of result that they are churning out of late, maybe just maybe they are going to finish in a very respectable position so far this season, maybe to qualify for the big 8.
Let's go to Texas and see what happened to Dallas last night. Mavericks lost at home, and it was Oklahoma City Thunders that pipped them by 100 points to 97. 3 points loss for the home side.
Yeah, but for OKC, you just need to give it to them. So far, so good this season. They've been very, very impressive. Right from the start of the season, they've been putting up a very good outing, whether they play away from home or at home. Surely they must get a positive result. Boston
Celtics beat Philadelphia 76ers last night, or the early hours of this morning, 114 points to 98. 76ers can't make up to 100 points.
Quite disappointing. They struggle so far this season. They have 1 or 2 injuries worry, but I don't think that should be the reason why they are not able to put up as much numbers as possible that you should expect of a team like that. They have 2 of their 3-pointers specialists, which for me I think they should be taking advantage of those 3-pointer players to ensure that at least they rack up the point as much as possible. Not scoring 100 points, I think for me quite disappointing for them.
Well, Orlando Magic lost at home. Detroit Pistons beating them there 96 to 100 and 92 to 106 points. What's happening to Orlando Magic?
Orlando Magic so far so good. This season they have not been very magical, unlike last season. But then I think they have some couple of games to go. Maybe just maybe they're going to pick up their mojo. But then not a good one for them early hours of this morning.
Talking about picking up, reminds me that Atlanta Hawks have done just that in 135 to 101 win over Portland Trail Blazers.
Yeah, for Portland Trail Blazers, you want to say, yeah, they are not really blazing on for this season, but just maybe it's one of those things. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some.
Talk about winning, and that's what Daniel Medvedev have done in tennis, because he won at the second Dubai Tennis Championship that got concluded at the weekend. His conqueror, his victim was Talon Crespo, who withdrew from the final because of injury. The Dutchman got his left hamstring injury after the game was at 7-5, 7-6 in an event out there in Dubai. Mike, injuries are part of the game, no doubt.
Definitely, but then I think it's not a good one at all, because at least it was a keenly contested encounter. You saw the scoreline before the injury setting, and even for Dani Medvedev, it's not even too much happy because of the injury to his opponent, because you should have expected it to last longer. Looking at the way the game was going, more like back and forth between two of them. It was an interesting game, but then no thanks to injury. But it is what it is, just like you've stated. Injury part of the game, no doubt. But at a crucial point where you are playing the final and you could not finish a final that was so tension-sucked because of the way and manner two of the players were, going out for each other out. They want to say disappointing outing for him. But then for Dani Medvedev, I think a big congratulations to him.
Dani Medvedev, new champion at the Dubai Championship. This is not the first time he's winning there. He won there in 2023 and he's back there. Looking at his career, he's has as many as 22 previous titles. No one at the biggest stage, the Grand Slam.
Yeah, I want to say so. No one at the biggest stage in the Grand Slam. But then for Dani Medvedev, he just needs to show consistency, because sometimes when he performed pretty well in some of these 1,000, ATP events, when you expect him to raise the bar when, the big one come calling, it's either the Australian Open, the US Open, the Wimbledon, he doesn't just, live up to the expectation of those players that you want to say, yeah, they are the favorites. Because I expect him at this point in time to be fighting for top one, top two, or even top three. But the contrary is the case. We still see a young Spaniard, Carlos Alcaraz, the Italian Yannick Sinner. Then you talk about Novak Djokovic himself, being the ones dominating. Where you have players like Dani Medvedev and other big names that should also be competing. He doesn't live up to that high hype when the big one come calling. So, and for me, I think that is where he needs to improve on his game if he truly want to be among the top five, major players in the world this year.
One man that was in this tournament and I expected much from is Rublev. What is going on with Rublev? He too is one, just a exciting player that has not made any impact, especially when it comes to the Grand Slam. But at least at the ATP titles like this, where we have as many as 1,000 points, he should make a mark.
Yeah, for Rublev, same case, same story for him. He should just performs maybe pretty well in some of these 1,000 or 500 ATP event, but it doesn't also raise his bar when the big one comes calling. So more like the same similarity with Dani Medvedev in terms of display when it has to do with the Grand Slam, which for me I expect him to also improve on his game going forward.
Well, we hope that Rublev will get better. Same we've seen of his compatriot, we say, or somehow, or his mate, Dani Medvedev. Dani Medvedev, Russian tennis player, winning his 22nd and, of course, the second at Dubai at the weekend. Let's say congratulations to him, and, of course, take a break at this point. When we return from the break, there will be more exciting sporting stories for you, especially in football, where there has been some, in my opinion, funny decision coming from the Nigerian Football Federation, restoring the Stars back to Ikene after they have been banned by the football, by the league management body. Across Europe, exciting results turned in at the weekend. Arsenal are back to the top of the Premier League with a 5-point gap between them and second place Manchester City. And of course, the football actions across in the La Liga and of course the French League 1 as well, bringing up a very exciting results. We'll fill you in on the details and see the impact of red card. What is FIFA thinking about red card in the days ahead? When we return from a break, you get it. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. And don't forget, we told you earlier how we're having some exciting results coming from athletics with a Nigerian, Temitokwe, now 4th overall in the world, and of course winning yet another indoor championship in the United States of America. Now let's go to football. And talking about football, we'll start from the domestic scene where there was an exciting result on match day 27 of the Premier League football. Academy Warriors beat Abia Warriors by 2-0. Wiki Torres, Kwara United returned to winning ways, beating Wiki Torres by 1-0. Only yesterday we saw Bayelsa United beat Rivers United by 1-0. Mike, what's happening to Rivers United and Bayelsa United? This is it looks like the fourth consecutive win over United by Bayelsa. Rivers United losing to Bayelsa United.
I think it's more like Bayelsa United knowing the the tactics and knowing
the home and away.
Yes, antidote to beating Rivers United. Don't forget, even back home here at Adokia Masimaka Stadium, this same Bayelsa United were the one that beat Rivers United 2-1 while they were preparing for their continental battle. You know, we thought maybe because of the fact that, you know, they had continental games, you know, some days before that, league game, we thought maybe that was the reason why they had to lose back here home. But then over the weekend, they also repeated the same feat. So more like a normal customer that Rivers United has become the team out there, which for me I think is not a good one. Don't forget, Rivers United have about 3 outstanding games, you know, and we're hoping that if they get to win all those games, maybe they are going to solidify their place in the top one out there. But then if you take a look at some of these outstanding games that they have so far, they are not picking the needed point, which for me I'm really afraid as it stands right now, though they are still second on the log, but then there is need for improvement for Rivers United.
Need for improvement for Rivers United. Finidi George and his lads have to improve if they have to maintain their first place position, or do I say reclaim their first place position at the top of the Premier League here in Nigeria. Still looking at results coming in at the weekend in the Premier League. Insurance whitewashed Ikorodu City by 4-0. The Enugu Rangers were 2 goals better than Nasarawa United. Enyimba's poor form continued even in Aba, where Kun Khalifa forced them to a 1-0 draw. Enyimba looking very likely for second division football, if you ask me.
Definitely, I think quite disappointing. Kun Khalifa that seated at the bottom of the table, forcing Enyimba, who should be contending for the title, to in a 1-0 draw. Not a good result at all for Emmanuel Dodge, who assumed helm of affair just a few weeks ago. Enyimba right now seated 15th on the log, which for me I think it is not a place where they ought to sit. One of the best team in Nigerian Premier Football League, twice CAF Champions League winner, 9-time Nigerian Premier Football League winner. Not a good one at all.
Fans who went to the Kontagora Stadium in Mina to watch Niger Tornadoes play Warri Wolves didn't see any goal because it ended goalless, while Remo Stars beat Katsina United by 2-0. Talking about Remo Stars, we understand the Nigerian Football Federation have ordered that they return back to the Kene Stadium after they were banished by the league body for crowd trouble. Mike, is this a good stand? You get punished for an offense, and all of a sudden a higher authority returns you back, maybe for reasons not very clear, because you really have to serve this punishment. Fans must know that football is not about being satisfied all the time. You could lose and then go home, but the situation where you lose and you attack match officials and opposing team and still return back after a game or two, absence from your stadium doesn't look well for me. This decision coming from the overall football ruling body in the country, Nigeria Football Federation, that Remo Stars returns to Ikene, for me is not palatable at all.
Not palatable, we want to say. I think it is what it is. These are some of the things that calls for questioning in terms of the way and manner our league is, organized. These are little things that matters a whole lot.
They should serve their ban.
Exactly. They say a little leaven, leaven the whole lumps. So when some of these little things need to happen, some other teams will start towing the same line. After a ban was issued, there was a reprieve, though, when they made an appeal. But then the latest news is that they've lifted that ban, which for me I think it is not fair at all. Don't forget, not just a ban, some form of a financial punishment as well was also inclusive. If you lift the ban, why not leave the financial, punishment?
Yeah, talking about the financial punishment reminds me of the fact that in Nigeria, when you ban a team and, of course, fine them, that fine is not paid until the football club will tell the banning authority that, look, they will pay you when you pay them their entitlement for playing in the league. And we know over the years, these teams don't get paid for their effort, playing in the league.
I think that is quite terrible. $20 million being given to each team at the start of a season, then any winner of the league goes home with 200 million naira. But often does this money get to them? These are the issues. So for me, I think high time we begin to organize our league in a way and manner that at least it should be fair to all. the better for our league improvement and development. But if we continue to see this kind of a mix-up, then it means the image of the league is being damaged.
Well, we have to stick by the rules. If we don't stick by the rules, then the teams have the opportunity to manipulate and get results at match venue. Shooting Stars playing in Ibadan beat Kano Pillars by 2-1. Kano Pillars looks like a team too destined for second division football.
Yeah, not a good one at all for Kano Pillars. I mean, it's just been quite terrible for some of the teams that you least expect. Poor performance from Enyimba, Kano Pillars, Remo Stars. Let's forget about Kun Khalifa, because they are newcomers as well. Even Bayelsa United as well, they are not also doing well because they are seated 14th on the level. So I think it's a very big worry, for the Nigerian Premier Football League, because we should have our best teams, doing quite well, so that when they get to qualify for the continent, we'll be rest assured that at least they are going to give us a good representation out there. So for me, for Kano Pillars, they just need to go back to the drawing board. Although someone is saying that the drawing board is full, but at least they can still use duster to dust some space and find a way to resolve their issues.
Well, talking about space, that is what Barrow FC will be looking for later today at their home ground, because the Plateau United has come visiting. Match will be by 4 p.m. Nigerian time, or 3:30 p.m. Nigerian time. Barrow FC, one of the new entrants to top-level football, have not justified their enthusiasm from what we saw from them last season.
Definitely. Surviving the Nigerian Premier Football League as a privately owned club, they come with a whole lot of responsibilities. And I think for me, a lot needs to be done by this team. No doubt they have not yet hold their grip well in the top flight division. So they are looking likely like one of the teams that must be going back to, second division for me. Well,
let's quickly look at some of the results coming in from the other leagues. But just before we do that, what seems to be happening here, we understand DR Congo's World Cup playoff preparations are in doubt due to what have been discovered as visa problems and unresolved protests from Nigeria. Do we still expect something coming from FIFA, talking about the Super Eagles of Nigeria's qualification ahead of their counterparts from Congo in the FIFA World Cup coming up in the United States of America, Mexico, and Canada?
Yeah, I think Nigeria should be expecting something, from FIFA, because the matter is already at the table. And they're still doing their own review. It's very technical issues, and they have to take time, with their own technical committee as well to review some of those complaints that have been laid by Nigeria. If they are tangible and substantial enough, then they must do the needful. And the reason why they are wasting or taking time is to ensure that whenever they give their rulings, it must be final and it must be fair to all. And I think for me, it has also affected DR Congo negatively somehow in terms of their World Cup preparation. Then again, coupled with the visa issue, I think it's a big, troubling time for DR Congo.
Okay, let's quickly go across to Europe now and see what is happening with the league results. Let's start from the Premier League, where there was very exciting actions at the weekend. Wolverhampton Wanderers beat Aston Villa by 2-0. Who could have expected these results?
Quite unbelievable, but it is football. It is something that happens in football. Sometimes you don't expect, some of these results to go the way you expected it to go, because Aston Villa, one of the title contenders, you want to say, coming up against a bottom team like Wolves, you expect them to get all 3 points, but it doesn't happen that way. A good one for Wolves, but despite the picking up the 3 points, they still remain rooted at the bottom of the team.
But don't play team 20 plays Wolves, still getting some, shocking result if you ask me. Burnley FC played at home, lost by 3-4 to Brentford. Burnley, candidate for relegation, no doubt?
Definitely, among relegation. Bournemouth, because of that victory, they find themselves in top 10 as we speak right now. So a good one for Bournemouth, but a poor
Brentford?
For Brentford rather, but a poor one for the candidate relegation bound team, talking about Burnley.
It was a good result for Liverpool FC at the weekend, because they had the highest score in the Premier League, 5-2 in the encounter between them and West Ham United. Looks like a derby game, if you ask me.
Yeah, more like a derby game for Liverpool. Good result for them. At least they are moving gradually to the top 4. They are seated 5th right now with just a few points to closing the gap in terms of the top 4 chase, because If you take a look at the top 4 chase right now, I think the only team that is maybe almost guaranteed is Arsenal and Manchester City. The rest team need to fight so hard for it, but good one for Liverpool.
Bad one for Newcastle United at the weekend because they play inside of their own stadium. Everton came, beat them by 3-2. What's happening here? Newcastle playing in the Champions League and of course posting this kind of results.
Yeah, for Newcastle, not a good result at all for them. Since the start of the season when the issue of Alexander Isak came on, I think it has really affected their game. Walter made that they bought who did pretty well at the start of the season. I think he's not finding his scoring boots again, and it's really affecting the team. But for Everton, I want to give it to them. They've been very fantastic so far, seated 8th on the log. So for me, a great result for Everton.
Leeds United lost inside of their own stadium. Manchester City getting all 3 points. What's happening here? Nobody seems to be hearing the name of Erling Haaland anymore.
Yeah, Tony Semenyo has come and, he's almost taking the shine off elite brute Haaland. But that is what he should be for a coach. You don't really depend on one player to always bang in a goal. When the player doesn't deliver, it looks as though the team is struggling. So it is a good one somehow. He's come
and started getting goals. Nearly scoring in all the matches he has played since he joined Manchester City at the transfer window in January.
Yeah, and I think it's been a good start for him at the Etihad Stadium. Talking about Antonio Semenyo, more like taking off the burden of responsibility upon Erling Haaland, sharing the goals among themselves. 1-0 victory. He had fought one, but then it really matters a lot. Talking about the 3 points in order to keep up the chase against the leaders.
It was a hard-fought victory for Brighton and over Nottingham Forest, 2-1 he did. And Fulham City had the same scoreline against Tottenham Hotspur, 2-1. And talking about 2-1 result, it was multiple at the weekend because Manchester City beat Crystal Palace by 2-1 as well. I think Manchester City by this result now is in the 3rd place position on the lag in the Premier League. A lot of people talk about coaches coming to do jobs and return back to Oblivion. Carrick, it seems to have gotten results since he came to Manchester United, and a lot of people think that he deserves to be made the substantive coach of the side. Will he be returning back to and of course stepping aside for someone else to come be the head coach?
I think
given the kind of result he's posted so far.
First off, he's having an impressive outing with Manchester United as an interim coach. But then again, I think the decision still lies on the board members. After the end of the season, they have to sit back, take their stock, and do a total appraisals of the performance of Carrick. If they think he's fit enough to become the head coach, why not give him the job? Because the man is doing quite well. This is the same Manchester United team that was really struggling under their former coach.
Amorim?
Talking about Ruben Amorim. But then you look as though everything has changed for good. You begin to ask yourself.
Yeah, they came from a goal down in this fixture.
Yes, and it's quite difficult for it to come from Manchester United to come from a goal down under Ruben Amorim.
Okay, let's look at the biggest result last night in the Premiership. It was an encounter at the Emirates Stadium between Arsenal and Chelsea. It ended 2-1 in favour of the home side Arsenal. All 3 goals coming off set piece, the corner kick, and it looks now like Arsenal returning to the top of the Premier League with at least 5-point gap between them and second place Manchester City. Manchester City has a match in hand, but then it is for me the biggest result for Manchester and for Arsenal at the weekend, because if they have lost this encounter, it will affect their subsequent games. And running into the last 9 games of the season, you need to get your players in the best mental state to getting results, especially with Manchester City breathing very deep on their net. Like I said, they have a match in hand. If they win, they cut it to 2 points. So you need to at least win all your remaining games, leading up to the fixture, and see whether Manchester City will stumble. Arsenal at the weekend. What about set pieces and Arsenal? 3 goals scored in this one. Chelsea didn't score last night.
Well, you talk about set pieces. I think Arsenal, they've actually done pretty well. So
especially that one scored by. Talk about doing pretty well. You want to say what we saw of Hincapi?
Even the one from
Hincapi that scored against Arsenal, that was an old goal.
Yeah.
But the way he flicked, he said maybe he thought he was in the opposite goal mouth.
You know, when you get to corner kick or free kick, the rubber rousing within the 18-yard box sometimes makes it quite difficult for some players out there. And
now, looking at side set piece, that reminds me. In the past, when there is corner kick, you don't get that rubber rousing movement. But with Arsenal, perfecting it now, all the other teams are now beginning to ensure there's a rubber rousing movement in the 18-yard box when even in the it's just a 6-meter box when there's a corner kick. And sometimes, most times, it has resulted into goal like we saw last night. All 3 goals last night coming from such movement and the goals scored.
Yeah, I think it's more like the new thing. It's becoming a tradition for for the English Premier League, and it's really yielding results. If you take a look at the amount of goals that have come via set piece so far this season alone in the English Premier League, it has surpassed the previous 5.
Yeah, talking about movements from corner kicks, especially last night, I was looking at the records, and I only discovered last night that this is the 9th time we are seeing Arsenal score off a corner kick a winning goal. Or do I say yes, winning goal in the match in a season? This season alone, they've scored 9 times, off corner kick. And when they score like that, it results into a winning goal. And checking the whole entire history of the Premier League, we've never seen a team score 9 times. They say their winning goal coming 9 times via corner kick. And we still have about 9 games to go in the season. So it looks like if Arsenal scores again and the goal comes from a corner kick and results into them winning the match, then they continue to break the records in the Premier League history.
Records are meant to be created, and also records are meant to be broken. This time around,
they've set the record now?
They've set the record now, which possibly in the near future or somehow the other team might just break it. But I think for us now, in terms of a set piece, it's been a great one so far for them. Don't forget, they've also equaled the set piece record of scoring 16, almost 16 out of their 16 set piece so far, which for me I think is a record equally won. So when you talk about some of those little technical or tactical input, Arsenal, they've got it so good so far this
let's stay away from Arsenal now and look at Chelsea. What about Chelsea? This is the 7th time this season that we've seen a Chelsea player given a red card, and we still have 9 games to go. It doesn't look good for them because when you're playing a crucial game of this nature, you need all your 11 players to be on the pitch. But last night we saw a senseless second red yellow card given to Neto, and he had just been given a yellow card 3 minutes before that incident. What was he thinking?
I guess he forgot, because when once that red card was issued, he went down to the the fourth official to ask. When did the first? So more like when you are on the pitch of play, sometimes if you are not that 100% concentrated, you tend to think about that thing. If not, how on earth you were just issued a yellow card 3 minutes earlier, and you are asking the fourth official when did the first yellow card came in? So for me, I think it's a matter of lack of mental concentration. That is what caused that very. We're talking about red card in all. It is 10 red card in all competition
for Chelsea. And the season is still on.
It's still on. It's a very bad record for them.
Bad record for Chelsea, but good work for Arsenal last night. And let's see what has happened in the La Liga in Spain. We saw Levante beat Deportivo Alaves by 2-0. Thereafter, it was 1-1 between Rayo Vallecano and Athletic Club Bilbao. FC Barcelona has remained in the top of the La Liga with a 4-1 win over Villarreal. Mallorca lost at home. Real Sociedad beating them by 1-0. Oviedo lost at home as well. Atletico Madrid gaining all 3 points, courtesy of a 1-0 win. Elche played a 2-2 draw with Espanyol. Valencia 1 goal better than Osasuna at the weekend. Real Betis played a 2-2 draw with Sevilla, while Girona lost at home in spite scoring first against Celta Vigo. Tonight, we'll see whether Real Madrid will come closer to Barcelona at the top with a win over Getafe. That match comes out at 9 p.m. Nigerian time. Quickly, let's go to Germany first, where it was Augsburg 2, Cologne 1. Bayern Leverkusen play a 1-0 draw with FC Mainz, while Borussia Mönchengladbach beat FC Union by 1-0. Hoffenheim lost at home. Pauli beating them by 1-0. It was 2 for Bremen, 1 for Heidenheim. Borussia Dortmund lost at home as well. Bayern Munich getting all 3 points. Bayern Munich, no one can stop them in the Bundesliga, Mike.
Yeah, definitely. I think the first half of that game, it was looking that it was going to go to the opposite direction. But then, you know, the Germany, the El Clasica, they call it out. Dortmund took the first lead. There was joy heading into the tunnel for Dortmund, but then they could not hold their own as Bayern came back with fury and actually got all 3 points. So straight one for them. So for this season, I think the league is theirs.
4-0 ended between Stuttgart and Wolfsburg. Woeful performance for Wolfsburg there. Eintracht Frankfurt beat Freiburg by 2-0. Hamburg had lost at home. RB Leipzig beating them by 2-1. Quickly, let's go to the Italian Serie A, where we saw earlier result. Parma beating Cagliari, drawing with Cagliari by 1-1. Then it was 3-1 for Como over Lecce, where Hellas Verona lost at home. Napoli beating them by 2-1. Inter Milan returned to winning ways, beating Genoa by 2-0. Cremonese lost at home. AC Milan getting all 3 points, courtesy of a 2-0 win, while Sassuolo beat Atalanta by 2-1. Torino beat Lazio by 2-0. AS Roma and Juventus produced a 6-goal thriller, 3-3 apiece. Pisa and Bologna encounter comes up tonight. That will be at 6:30 p.m. while Udinese will take on Fiorentina as well, just about 9 p.m. Nigerian time. Let's go to France now, where Strasbourg played a 1-1 draw with RC Lens. Paris FC beat Nice by 1-0. Lille beat Nantes by 1-0, where Florence FC Lorraine beat drew 2-2 with FC AG Auxerre. Metz lost at home. Stade Breton beat them by 1-0. Olympique Marseille were better than their neighbors. Do I say Olympique Lyonnais by 3-2? What an encounter this one was. Mike, did you see it?
Yeah, it was a quite interesting game. At some point, it was pegged at 2-2-all. I thought it was going to end, you know, two teams sharing the spot, but then Marseille did everything possible to ensure that they get all 3 points. AS
Monaco beat Angers by 2-0, while Levere lost at home. Paris Saint-Germain beating them by 1-0. We have to begin to wrap up the show. We'll definitely be back at 6 p.m. Nigerian time, where we'll take a look at some of the highlights of these features across Europe. But one of the biggest news coming out at the weekend is the opinion of FIFA President Gianni Infantino that if a player covers his mouth to say something to another player, then he should be given a yellow card. Do you stand with Gianni Infantino, especially leading to the World Cup? The issues of racist abuses come when players cover their mouth and say something to an opposing player, and it's very difficult sometimes to know exactly what was said, because as you cover your mouth, it affects being picked up by mics around the stadium.
I think it's a good one. Brazil actually started this move. It is called the Vinicius law. It's about racism, and they are trying to curb that. And I think for me, FIFA is also taking a copy from in a world.
Talking about Vinicius Junior, in the recent match Real Madrid versus Benfica, you remember Prestiani, who covered his mouth and alleged to have used racist remark. Investigation is ongoing right now by UEFA, and if he's found guilty, he could be leaving the pitch. He will not be returning to the pitch at least 10 games, and that's quite a number. Aim at ensuring that there's no racist abuse. But again, there has to be clarity of what was said, and I think I stand with the FIFA president on this one.
Definitely, like I said, what actually led or precipitated to this idea of making that law, which is called Vinicius law, is to actually stop racism. Although Cristiani came out to allege that Vinicius Junior actually called him a dwarf, which is not yet proven yet, and that is why they are still. So, if going by that, statement that Cristiani said Vinicius called him a dwarf, that might just be the reason that provoked him to actually use some racist word against Vinicius. But I think the investigation is still ongoing. Although before their last UEFA Champions League game, he was temporarily suspended for 1 game, pending on when that investigation is concluded. So I think for me, all this is tailored to actually eradicate racism in football.
Gianni Infantino, of course, looking forward to the addition being agreed upon in the next, and of course, I think there's a window for FIFA to, if they agree, for it to be implemented at the FIFA World Cup coming up in the United States of America, Canada, and Mexico. That will be it for this edition of Sports Talk. We'll be back at 6 p.m. Nigerian time for more detailed analysis and, of course, highlights of what has happened in the world of sports across the world. Until then, remember, peace and unity are clearly pathways to progress. Always enjoy here on Atlantic Television Network.
The board, management, and staff of Morrison Media Group presents the 2026 Anniversary Celebration Lecture of Morrison Media Group. Theme: Media's role in shaping social change, addressing inequities, and empowering voices. Chairman Alex Ndudi Enebele, FSM, President, Institute of Strategic Management of Nigeria, Chartered. Keynote speaker, Professor Armstrong Idachaba, Professor of Media and Broadcasting Communication. Panelist, Professor Chris Ochonogo, Immediate Past Head of Department, Journalism and Media Studies, University of Port Harcourt. Dr. Ijoma Tobosia, Secretary, NUJ, River State. Dr. Sarah Joe, University Orator and Associate Dean, Faculty of Communication and Media, River State University, Port Harcourt. Dr. Ibiere Koki, Ignatius Aju University of Education, Rumolomini, Port Harcourt. Chief Host, Dr. Chinyere Igwe, Esquire, Chairman, Morrison Group. Date: Tuesday, 10th March 2026. Venue: Gate Place Hotel, Kilometer 5, East West Road, adjacent Obirikwere Flyover, Rumosi, Port Harcourt. Time: 10 a.m. For more information, please call Kainde Paul Obofadi 081-063-41777 or Samuel Ajinwo at 090-454-00744. Signed, Management.
Frontline.